Alright, what is up guys? Manic here, and welcome finally to a video I've been wanting to make since the day I got it or beat it, my Horizon Forbidden West review. This has been a long time coming for me because I obviously got the game, like, I pre-ordered it, so I bought it before it came out, and I sat down and I played it, and that was all I played the day I got it. I didn't even play any other game. Not until I beat this one, and let me tell you, totally worth it. So, obviously this video, I wanted to make this video sooner, but I couldn't because I have a job now, I've been working. It's a lot of hours, so, well it was, and then I got switched to a different position, so it's a 3-hour shift now, which is fine because I like short shifts, even though this one feels like a freaking eternity, but I'm not going to talk about that, maybe later. But for now, I'm going to talk about this, and obviously before we start, massive spoiler warning. Let me just clean this up real quick. Yeah, so obviously spoiler warning. Let me see if I can guess. Actually, hold on. Let me see if I can get some lights up in here. We gotta have good lighting, you know? Even though there's natural lighting out here. Yeah, actually, let me see if I can turn off my brightness, see if that helps. A little bit. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah. So, yeah, obviously, spoilers. This game came out, like, just about a month ago. And if you guys follow my channel, then you guys know I don't really issue spoiler warnings for games that are over 2 years old, because I feel like if you were that interested in the game, you would have gotten it or watched it. So yeah, the only exception being, like, obviously, like, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. If I ever talk about like the game as a whole, I'll just give spoilers if needed, just because even though the game itself is like as old as me, or almost as old as me. I think the first game I think Mass Effect 2 came out in like 2010 or so, around that. But like obviously, since like the Legendary Edition, I'll give spoilers since that's a fairly new thing. Although maybe not now, but anyways, so yeah, obviously spoilers. I'm gonna be talking about some stuff, and my brain is in my mind. After I beat Forbidden West, I didn't just replay it. I went on straight to Mass Effect just because I beat Forbidden West. There isn't much to say. But yeah, with that, I'm gonna be going over the story, some of the machines, not all of them, because I can't remember any of the new ones, because again, my memory is so bad. Please mind the fact that I am sniffing like I'm a crack addict. My nose has been running a lot recently, so yeah. But I'm mostly gonna go over the story and my thoughts on some of the new characters and whatnot. Some of the minor weapons, outfits. I did run into a couple of issues with the story, not like personal issues, like you'll see in a moment what I'm talking about, but just like some like really confusing and dumb shit. So yeah. So first, let's start off with the characters. They introduced some new characters in the story. Some of them were actually really good, like Katalo and Zoe. Although my main interest was with Alva. She's my absolute favorite one. And Beta. Which for some of you guys don't know, Beta is Aloy's sister. You learn throughout the story, you learn of something called the Zeniths, or you start to learn about a group called the Zeniths. And the Zeniths are like these pompous, rich assholes that can fly. Who are really invincible, by the way, unless you disable your armor, which is something that's very prominent in the rest of the story, which I'll get into here in a moment. But yeah, so the Zeniths made Beta as sort of like an Elizabeth Sobek clone. So kind of like how the tribals have Aloy, the Zeniths have Beta, even though the tribals don't really follow Aloy, but still, you know what I mean. So yeah, she was one of those characters that I ended up hating at first, but then as the story progressed, I was like, okay, I like it. I like her. This is one of those games where I went from like loving a character to hating a character to also loving the or hating a character to loving a character. But this is the first time a game has made me love, hate, and love a character again. Which leads me to the next important character in the story, Silence. Silence was like my favorite character aside from Aloy in like Zero Dawn. But then in Forbidden West, I ended up hating him because he seemed like the whole time I was thinking like he's gonna be like the second antagonist. There's always like there's the main. A lot of these games always have the main antagonist, but then there's the secondary antagonist. Kind of like with Mass Effect, it's a case of like in Mass Effect 3, whilst the Reapers are the main antagonist, Cerberus is the backup antagonist. Or if you play GTA 5, it's like Devin West is the main antagonist, and then you have Chow, Stretch, and whoever Michael hates. Or yeah, I forgot Steve Haynes or whatever. That dude. So yeah. So there's like multiple and I thought that was gonna be the case. Like this, like Silence is like the secondary antagonist, and the Zenith is the main antagonist. So eventually you're gonna have to end up killing Silence to then kill the Zeniths. But as it turns out, you later learn that not only is Silence not the bad guy, but he also wants to kill the Zeniths, but for his own different reasons. Which is why he gained over Regala's army. It was going to be... At first, I thought it was going to be a case of like Zeniths and Silence versus Aloy. But then I later learned that it's the Zeniths versus Silence army versus Aloy. So it was like three... It was like their own thing. Even though that wasn't the point, it just felt that way. Speaking of which, I should give you guys a bit of a feeling. Actually, no, because that would have spoiled the whole thing, and that's not the point. If you guys have played the game, then you guys will know that you guys have a chance to spare or kill Regala. If you want my advice, you save her, because she's totally worth it. For me, at least, I think she's worth it. And yeah, let's go into a character that I kind of have mixed feelings about because of the fact that just because like her character was added so late in the game, like so much later in the game that you don't really have much time to think about, and that is Tilda. Tilda is one of the Zeniths that ends up working with you or wants to work with you. Mostly because she has feelings, because since she's from the Zeniths are like from the past, meaning like around Elizabeth Sobek's era. I don't know what happened. I can't really remember. I think they were like cryogenically frozen or something or whatever. Or they made themselves invincible, meaning that like Tilda's about like if Elizabeth Sobek was still around, they would be like around the same age. But so you later learn that Tilda and Elizabeth Sobek had a thing at one point. Which is why she's willing to work with Aloy, which is very weird, but that just seems weird. Why do I want to work with you? Because I slept with your clone. That's why. Like, no, that just seems weird. And it's not stated like that, but I just wanted to say that just because I found it funny. So yeah, so with that, and then whenever you finish the like. As you like reach the end of the story, you later learn that Tilda wants Aloy to stay because of her feelings towards Elizabeth Sobek. Like that's the dumbest reason anyone has ever wanted anyone to stay that I have seen. Why do I want you to stay? Because you look like Elizabeth and I still love her. No, that's not a good reason, but it's one no less. And yeah, so since we're talking about the different characters you can work with, I'll kind of start with Varl, because some of you guys that played this game may know, if you guys have been in the game, then you guys will know the big twist at the end, so I'll just go out and say it. Varl was one of those that I wasn't really I wasn't huge with on Zero Dawn. I didn't hate him. I was just like, oh, he's there. But then like once, and then I guess like, well, I guess at the start of Zero Dawn, I was like, okay. And then as like the story went on, I started to like him, but that was it. And then like over time with Forbidden West, I started to like really like him because it's just he's been there for Aloy, but the issue is that Aloy is like so like wanting to be alone that she just dismisses Vol. She just ignores Varl entirely, and that's not. And well, I get her reasoning. Like this is something she wants to do on her own. Like she could at least like have some help. And then so you go and with Beta, she be after like you get Beta in your base because you have like your own little base and whatnot. Beta starts to become like very problematic and tough to work with. That eventually Aloy just gets frustrated with her, and then Varl has been there and Varl like goes aside and is like, look, you gotta calm down. This is bothering you. And so like Varl has been there for Aloy all this time and whatnot. And it was really nice to see. And then Genesis came around and was like, you like Varl so much, how about we just kill him off? So they kill off Varl, like, so... I knew there was gonna be, like, a death. There was, like, two characters I was hoping it wouldn't be, and Varl was one of those. It was Varl and Aaron. Those are the two I did not want. Because I love Aaron so much. And Varl is dating Zoe, which would have made things a lot tougher to do. And then Genesis came around and it was like, oh, you love Varl so much, how about we just kill him? And that's what they do. If you are at Genesis, if you are watching this and you are at Genesis, I'm sorry to tell you this. You didn't heed to my spoiler warning, but yes. If you play Genesis, Varl ends up dying. So there's that. And that was sad, especially once you meet up with Zoe, and you're at her memorial. That was tough. That was so tough for me to deal with. So yeah. I need a second after that. That one was tough. I think this was another one of those cases where I ended up like I didn't cry, but like it was a tearjerker for me. I was like, ugh, just. That was the moment I realized as to why women do this with their hands whenever they start crying. I was like, just stop, please, no. So yeah, there's that. And then Zoe, I liked Zoe at first. I was like, ugh. She's very distant and not very. I didn't like her because I liked Aloy a lot more. I obviously do like Aloy a lot more. And so Zoe just seemed very dismissive of Aloy, but then I started to like later learn that like she was just very like looking out for Aloy, and something like that just would have the fact that the first time you meet Zoe is like Aloy's hurt and whatnot, and then you meet up with Varl, and then you learn that Varl is dating Zoe. You're like, okay, I can forgive you, just for right now. Even though I half-hearted expected like Varl and Aloy to be a thing, I was just like, they're gonna add like some romance in this because some people wanted this. I don't know if a lot of people wanted it. I know there was like a few people who were like, I want like an Aloy romance. I was one of those people like I wanted one, but if I didn't get one, oh well. And yeah, but over time I was just like, it seems about right that she doesn't have one. Makes sense. There's really no one she could be with. So with that, then over time after Varl's death, I was like, oh, this is tough. I feel bad for Zoe. And then yeah, Aaron was pretty much the same. He was very helpful. He was very dismissive of you whenever the first time you meet him because you obviously just up and left after the fight for answers and whatnot. So he was very upset, reasonably so. But over time, Aaron just became a fucking badass the whole time. I was like, this is good. I like this. Yeah, not much to say there. Katalo. Katalo was one I was like very hesitant about at first because he seemed very dismissive. I know I say that a lot with some of these people, but like he seemed very like just keep to yourself and just shut the hell up, do what I say and whatnot. But over time, I do end up liking a lot of these characters. Katala was one I started liking once he started once he started like opening up and he joined the crew. But also whenever you shot down I forgot what it was called, but you blow up that area. Again, memory is horrible. Or I guess around the time that he started learning like your true purpose and whatnot, and the reason why you're doing all this stuff. My memory is so bad. I even forgot the clan name that he's a part of. So that seems like the most simple one ever. But then after you help defend his clan and whatnot, I was like, this motherfucker means for real. And then you talk to him, and then you learn that eventually he wants like a new arm and whatnot, which isn't really expressed anywhere else. It's just like, oh, he now has an arm. Cool. Like, you help him get an arm, and then like you do nothing with it. He just has it all of a sudden. Like, It's the most dumbest. I wish they explored the armor bit further. Maybe they do, and I'm just like, and I skipped out on everything because I just wanted to beat the game because I'm like that. Another reason why I wanted to beat the game was because I had like a job coming up, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to spend I didn't want to play an hour of it to just then go to work and then come back from work and then play like 45 minutes of it before I give up, and I'm like, oh, I just want to go to bed. So I wanted to beat the game before. I may go back and explore it further. Maybe. I'm not sure. So there's that. And then now we move on to one of my favorite characters is Alva. Alva is one of my favorites. Because she was like one of the first characters that join up with you that I didn't actually end up hating at all. There was nothing I hated about her. The first time you meet her, you're like, what the fuck is she doing here? She shouldn't be here. And then you learn about all of the... And then you learn, like, the thing about her tribe, which I forgot also. And then you meet Seal, which is like a Ted Faro copy. And he's so weird the whole time because he believes he's Ted Faro as much as he believes that you're Elizabeth Sobek, which isn't true, but it is so goddamn weird. And Alva tried to warn you about him, but obviously you're Aloy, so you didn't listen. Let me see if I can turn these off now. Yeah. And then you later learn that she wants to join you. So, or she ends up joining you, and she gets a better focus because her tribe has one. She's a part of a tribe that, like, given her rank, she can have one. So there's that. But then, like, over time, I started to, like, really love Alva. I forgot what her mission was. She had a mission. I forgot what it was. Katala's the only one I remember because his was so, like, out of nowhere. It was just like, oh, you want a new arm? What are you gonna do with it? It's like, we'll see. Like, I want to know now. And then Zoe's was getting, like, the songs of the machines near Plain Song to sing or to work again, but they ended up singing. It was especially if you do it after Genesis, you're like, yeah, this is good. So if you want my advice, help Zoe after Genesis. That'll really help. But I forgot what hers was. It was something. It was something worth it. It was something she wanted. But Aaron doesn't really have one, or maybe he does, and I just rushed the whole thing. Um, who knows? But now we move on to a character that wasn't a part of it, but I feel like should have been, and that was Talia. I forgot her name already. She was a part of the hunter tribe, or the hunting grounds area during Meridian. I forgot her name. I think her name was like Talid or something. I don't know. Again, forgot her name. A terrible memory and whatnot. She was one I wanted to join so bad. But I feel like for obvious reasons she couldn't. She was also one of those where I was hoping like she would have like... She was one of the two I wanted an Aloy romance with. If they were going to add romances, and if I was like, do they need one so bad? Like if I was desperate for one, it would definitely have to be her. But obviously no, because she had a boyfriend, and that was just seemed like completely out of nowhere. Like, oh, she has a boyfriend, not anymore. How about she has a girlfriend now? Like, no, I get the gist, but yeah. But she was one, I loved her so much that she should have joined Aloy. But I guess if you didn't have Regala on your team, she would probably die. And that would have... You already have Varl dead. You don't need her dead also, you know? So yeah, there's that. Yeah, another character I was really happy to see back was Petra. Petra is like one of my favorites because she has like a nice, inappropriate, and saucy attitude. She ends up running Chainbreak. Is that it? I think that's it. No, it's Stonebreak. Then what's the... She ends up running one of the earlier towns, and which I didn't know was possible. If I had known better, I should have done those like really, really earlier, like really earlier than I anticipated. But there's really nothing I could do, because I got too distracted on focusing forward towards the game. I did eventually do it. I did do it before like you got the base, but before Gaia was really into the system. But other than that, I should have done it like before I went even further. I think to Plainsong, I feel like maybe that's around the time I should have done that. But I got to Plainsong and then she ended up running Chainbreak. So whatever, at least it happened, you know. So even though I do like a lot of stuff in this game, I do feel like there was some stuff I really disliked about the game. Obviously, the first one, or I feel like the most obvious one for some people, if you are like me, is the cauldrons aren't as noticeable. Now maybe it's just because of the fact I'm not looking, which is also possible, but at least in the first game, you had some idea as to where the cauldrons were because they told you. But now all these things are surrounded by like question marks and shit that there's really no way to tell where the cauldrons are, which means I ended the game going through two complete cauldrons. That's it. One of them was Cauldron Genesis, but that's just because I had to, and the other one was like the one that's like more western, like right near a tall neck. That was when I got to. Or was it more eastern? Well, yeah, I guess it was far west than east. But yeah, I just did because I really like the cauldrons, and some of the machines in the game are amazing. But the thing is that I want to hack some of them, but you can't because of the fact that cauldrons are so difficult to find now. And yes, I guess the point of this game is to explore a lot more, but I don't want to explore. I want to play, and And if exploring means playing, then so be it. I'm playing the game wrong. But the whole reason. Actually, what was the whole reason for the call? I guess the whole reason for the cauldrons was just so I could level up my character. Because I had trouble with the final boss, which I'll get into in a moment. And then so with that, I decided, okay, if I do the cauldrons, I could at least level up my character or get like skill points. That was the thing I needed. I needed skill points. Because skill points level up your character a lot more. Level up Aloy and makes her a bit stronger. But with that, I needed to do cauldrons. Now the thing about cauldrons, they were so hard to find that I ended up just skipping all the cauldrons altogether. Now, since the game is fairly new, there wasn't like any guide onto where to find all the cauldrons. So maybe there is now, but back then, no, there's nothing. I say back then like it was 2 years ago. This was almost a month ago. So yeah. Now we move on, speaking of skill points, now we move on to the skill tree sets, because this one was fairly new. It wasn't, or I wouldn't say fairly new, but it was a lot different than what I was used to with Zero Dawn. And I gotta tell you, as much as I hated the skill trees, mostly because of the fact I'm a very undecisive person. Because I'm like, oh, do I want this, or do I want this? Ooh. Obviously, if I complete more missions, I could get another skill point if it's worth like one. If I'm deciding between like a skill that takes one skill point, and I have that one skill point needed for both of those, I could easily to get either one of those. Then I could easily just put one in there, complete another mission, and then get the other one I want. Thing is I'm very undecisive. So it's like, do I want this one now, or do I want this one now? Obviously the first one I obviously like got all the way through was the infiltrator tree, just because I love the snake aspect of the game. Maybe like I could go back, restart my character, or play Zero. My biggest issue with whenever I played the game was mostly on myself, was that I did not beat Zero Dawn. I did not go through Zero Dawn again. So a lot of the information, I was like, this is different. It was one of those where like, if like you're at the party and you know people, but you forgot everything about them. You're like, oh, I know you. What's your name again? It's like you know them, but you forgot their name. You're just like, ooh. It's like they reference names, and you're like, oh yeah, I know that name, but what was their purpose again? I forgot. It was like Hades. I forgot. Well, I knew what Hades was like the main bad guy of the game, but over time I was like, oh, what was your purpose again? So yeah, and Gaia was another one. I was like, I know who she is, but what was her purpose? Her purpose was to like obviously bring life back to everything, but like, I was like, ugh. I don't know anything about you, I'm afraid. I forgot everything about you. Now, there were a few characters I did want back, but I feel like for obvious reasons, they wouldn't be there. One of them was Teb. I really loved Teb in Zero Dawn, that I wish he was around in Forbidden West. Obviously, I know why he wasn't, because no other Nora is gonna venture that far west. Another one was Nil. Nil was one of my favorites, and I wanted him to like show up at one of these camps, because obviously like he did with the Karja camps, or yeah, the Shadow Karja camps. So I figured, why not just go east and deal with the Rebel camps, or go west and deal with the Rebel outposts and Rebel camps. That would have made the whole fights a lot easier. And then if he survives those, then he can help you on the final battle, which I desperately needed. I needed some sort of help during the final battle, because let me tell you, that was a tough one. Yeah, so I feel like I've been talking about it. So I'll just say the final battle is against Tilda because, like I mentioned before, she refuses to leave because of the fact that, or she refuses to let you leave because of the fact that she still has feelings for Elizabeth Sobek, and obviously, since you're a genetic copy, since you and Beta are both genetic copies of Elizabeth Sobek, but Aloy has more of her determination than Beta, since I guess Aloy is a more clear copy than the rest. Tilda wants you to go with her, and she's not taking no for an answer. Clearly, I'm surprised she wasn't locked up sooner with that sort of information or with that sort of attitude, but can't please everyone, you know. So with that, the final. Let me tell you what was weird about this battle. So the entire I spent almost an hour the first time just trying to kill Tilda. I got pretty close one time, and then I died, and I was like, screw it. I'll give it a few more tries, and then I'm done. And then I gave it a few more tries, and I was like, I'm done. I reverted back to a previous save, and I talked with. You can it's you ever replay a game knowing that your best friend is the bad guy, and you're like, oh, I fucking hate you. That's how it was with Tilda because she was so cooperative with us, and I'm like, this is why you do this, huh? You're helping us because you have your own ambitions, so you want to help us so you can get what you want sooner. That's how it is. So I went back, and the thing is I just got a few perks. I got I think it was the elemental damage skill in the skill tree, where you do extra elemental damage against targets, and since Tilda is weak against poison and plasma, they added so much elemental shit. I was like, ugh, that's a lot. It was a lot for me to deal with. That eventually, if I got the extra elemental damage, then I could do more damage against Tilda with poison and plasma, or acid, not poison. Even though it basically acts like a poison, so I guess same thing. Um, So yeah, and that really helped. That's all I did was I leveled up Aloy once, and then I got the top 3 ranks of the I think it's under the is it no it's not under Hunter. I think it's under the Warrior skill. Where you get the extra elemental. Oh, is that no? No. It's not under machines. Where is it? I think so. No, I'm not sure what it's under. I forgot already. Obviously, it's under one of the. It's like the top level skills and whatnot, or is it bottom? Anyways, the point is I got this skill that does extra elemental damage or not. Yeah, I'll call it that. Elemental damage. And it really worked out, and I was like, seriously, that's all I needed. Because I ranked up all of my infiltrator stuff, even though I didn't need it. And then all I needed was the one thing I was avoiding the whole time. And I was like, oh, great. This is fun. And I even got foods. I didn't use food the entire time I played the game, even though it is specifically stated that you probably should. I didn't eat a single scrap of food. Oh, did I? No, I didn't, because I thought it was weird that I made a whole preparation thing. I was playing survival mode of Fallout 4. I survived. I got so much food in there that I ended up using neither of them because it wasn't needed. One of the things that did help though was the explosive stamina thing. That one was really helpful. And I was like, I used that one a lot, religiously. Every time I was in a fight, I used it because it was so damn helpful. It was especially helpful once you got if you got the weak spot figured out, and then you use the the element that the weak spot is weak against, and then you use that as an arrow, an explosive one at that, and you do a lot of damage to that weak spot as well as the enemy. So I used that one religiously throughout the entire game. I used it like my life depended on. Like it wasn't the only thing I used, even though I. That seems like a really interesting challenge, but no. I did like the idea of the Valor. That one was really interesting. Even though that one's not really affected by Valor, it's something else. No, the explosive is affected by stamina, not Valor. Right. I'm getting all mixed up. It's I'm so tired right now. I just got out of bed to record this. So, yeah. Um yeah, really fun. I really love this game. Then we move on to the machines because I wasn't ending the video. I forgot what else I want to talk about. The machine. There were so many damn machines. Why are there so many machines? Some of my least favorite machines was the Slitherfang and the Slaughter Tooth. It was I forgot, but some of the enemies were really good, and and then once I got to, I'm terrified of snakes. That once I got to the Slitherfang, I was like, oh, shit. This is what we're doing now. We have snakes. And then so I checked and then once I scanned new machines, I was like, oh, it was like a burrow. I was like, oh, they're this game's version of a Watcher because they have Watchers, but it's a red eye Watcher, so it's not like a regular Watcher. I was like, oh, so that's this game's version of a Watcher. And then I scanned it, and then I went to the machines index, and I was like, there are like 37 machines. And I finished the game. I didn't find one of them. That's how far back into this game I was. I found all of them but one. By the way, Tilda's machine counts as is in the index. Tilda's machine counts as one of the machines in the index. I scanned hers. Well, I didn't need to, but because I already knew what hers was, which scanning her was basically almost impossible to do. I was because whenever I restarted, which for the record, I beat Tilda first try after. During my second attempt, I one shot her after, or after all that work, I first try. So with that, yeah, so I finished the game with all but one machine scanned. I did like the fact that they did bring back some of the older machines from the first game, like the Snap Maw, the Long Legs. What I didn't like was the fact that they made Apex versions, because the Thunderjaw is tough to beat already, but an Apex Thunderjaw, no. I'm not about to beat an Apex Thunderjaw, which you had to do for the main story of the game if you needed in order to get Alva. Well, you also needed something else from there, but I was more worried about Alva because she's my favorite. Yeah, you have to kill an Apex Thunderjaw to progress in the story. Dumb as hell, by the way, but necessary, I guess. And and the Apex. What's dumb about the Apex version is that they have different weaknesses than the original machine. So like whatever the weakness of the normal Thunderjaw is, that's not the weakness of the Apex version. For whatever, is it rainy? For whatever reason, I'm not sure why, but well, I guess it's more the Apex version, so it's a lot more tougher to do. It's different. What the fuck was that sound? Weird. And yeah, so but then they added in like different Like Bellowbacks had its own thing now. Like it wasn't just like a Frost Bellowback was one index, and then the Fire Bellowbacks was the other. Or was it Acid? No. So like it had its own thing now. So like it was the Bellowbacks, and then like it had the Frost Bellowback, and then the Fire Bellowback, and then the different sorts of Bellowbacks. So it had all these different sort of combinations and whatnot. The Burrower has like 15 or so of those things. I'm not sure why. I didn't come across all of those, because why the fuck should I? But yeah, so yeah, all the machines, I can't list them all because because there's so many, but some of my favorites were the Wide Maw. That one was my favorite. The Bellowbacks were obviously one of my favorites. Then you have which is interesting to think about, because the machines are like real life animal versions. I think the Slaughter the Slaughter Tooth or whatever. What the Slaughter one is like it's a dinosaur. Then there was an elephant version. That one was an interesting one. You barely come across it, but it was definitely one of the cooler ones to see. Some of the worst ones were the Slitherfangs. And that's it. That was the only one, because I hate snakes. And yeah, well then there was obviously the Spectres, but those ones aren't really that tricky. They were, but they weren't like my biggest concern. Because I think I've died to Slitherfangs more than I've died to Spectres. And yeah, I'm not going to go over all the weapons and all that, because I feel like those speak for themselves. But I will say that the weapons there were pretty cool. I did use like the standard bows, but then I followed the Horizon subreddit, and then I see all these people using enemies or using these different weapons, defeating enemies on very hard mode, and I'm like, these weapons could have made the fight against Tilda 10 times easier. Let me tell you, it would have been so much easier to kill Tilda with these weapons, but no, I had to go old school and use the war bow and the hunter bow, because I am basic as hell. It's fine though, because I beat it. That's all that matters, right? I beat the game. Yeah, so this was definitely worth the wait. I'm so excited. Hopefully they do make a third and final one for Nemesis. The whole time I was like, this is just like Mass Effect. Because now that I think about it, it's not. But like back then, I was like, this is just Mass Effect. You want to destroy the main enemy, but Silence wants to control. Just like Commander Shepard wants to destroy, but the Illicit Man wants to control the Reapers. Broad analogy, but it works. So, who knows? That was awful. But yeah, hopefully there isn't much I'm missing. I guarantee you, once I'm done with this video, there's gonna be like, oh, I forgot to talk about this. But yeah, the clothing was also pretty good too. I forgot which one I used. The weirdest one was Elizabeth's raiment, obviously. That one was obviously the weirdest of them all. Given the fact that it was given to you by a CO, and he wasn't taking no for an answer, and Aloy's like, ugh, fine. And the fact that I had to wear that throughout the entire mission or quest, no. Why did I have to do that? Why? Because he has his ego in check? Or because he has like an ego of some sort? No. There's more to it than that, and he ain't telling. So yeah, the modifications were a lot better. They did combine the two different modifications. Oh, the different things you can use, such as the glide thing and the thing that you use to destroy metal flowers. I did like the way they used metal flowers as like a physical thing, as opposed to something you could just find out up and about. Um, so there's that. Um, but some of my favorite ones were that hang glide thing, which is very useful. Um, because I used that thing every time I fell, even if I knew I was gonna survive. Hell, I would jump just to use it. Like that. That's how awesome this thing was. Then you have the thing that helps you breathe underwater. By the way, for the record, the first time that you use that thing to breathe underwater is like in what was back then, well, what is now considered Las Vegas. Like, it was called Vegas back then, or it was Vegas Ruins. That was awesome to see. The graphics of this game are fucking amazing, even though I don't really care about graphics a whole lot. That's kind of a lie. I'm not huge with graphics, but I do care about graphics a lot because I want to. If the game is enjoyable, if the game is not enjoyable, then at least I have the beautiful graphics to make up for it. That's how you piss people off, right there. But yeah, just seeing like the Vegas ruins was awesome. Um, and seeing the snap balls underwater was terrifying because if they see you, there's nothing you can do. Like, you are screwed. Thankfully, I never got caught underwater, so that was good. But yeah, that whole thing was awesome. The pole hook, or the pole caster, I guess, was alright. There were a couple missions where I was like, how do I do this? And I see the blue X's, and I'm like, oh, a pole caster. Of course. That's how you do it. There wasn't much else. Yeah, there was some stuff that I barely used, such as the resonator and whatnot. It showed up, but if I wasn't like actively trying to use the resonator, if I did use the if like a certain part of the enemy was resonated, I guess I would just shoot them. But I wasn't like actively using it in combat a whole lot. Just because, like, even though it was there, I just felt like it was there just because I needed whatever else. I did try and use it again. I did prepare to use it against Tilda, but I figured that would be a backup if the elemental weakness didn't work, which thankfully it did. But whatever, you know. And so yeah. Other than that, there isn't really much else. Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff just speaks for itself. If you play the game, then you know. One of the like things that added nothing to the game that I did like was the face paint. The face paints were fucking amazing. I did like it. Just cause like, as I did like Zero Dawn's version of face paints, where like you every time you beat the game on like New Game Plus, starting with hard and going up from there. Every time you beat it on New Game Plus on a harder difficulty, you got face paints as well as the focus thing. The face paints did nothing, but I do like a bit of cosmetic stuff that add nothing to the game, just kind of makes it feel different. The one thing that they did add in Zero Dawn that I wish they added for Forbidden West was the different focus color things. I think that would have been interesting. The fact that they also brought back the Nora Huntress outfit that you get from Teb and Zero Dawn was awesome, but I didn't use it. I guess another one I did like was the different armor paints. I did use the pink one a lot because pink is like my favorite color. I mean, obviously I have a pink wristband on. Even though this is different meaning, but whatever. But yeah, overall, really awesome game. I'm excited to see if they do anything with Nemesis. They probably will, but hopefully, if there's one thing I learned for next time, it's to play once the third game. If the third game does come out, I think I think it was confirmed that they're making another one. I'm not sure. If they do somehow make a third game, one of the things I should be doing is playing the game. I guess play Zero Dawn and Forbidden West again before I play the third one. I was hoping that like since we have Forbidden West, that they just do like all of the like cardinal locations. Like, okay, so Horizon Zero Dawn was east of the game. Now we need one that's more west, so Forbidden West. Now we need something for north, which is the troubling north, and then the south, which is the south. I'm not clever. The no. I don't know. The secluded south. Because no one is allowed in the south because it is really dangerous and full of. I guarantee you, if they do, the third game is gonna have like 100 new machines. I am calling it right now. You're gonna open up the machine index and then it's gonna take you 30 seconds to get to the bottom because it is so. There's gonna be so many new machines. I'm calling like the first one had like I think like 10 or so machines, and this one has 30. They're gonna have like 60 new machines, I guarantee, or like 45 new machines or something. I don't know. They're gonna run out of animals soon enough. Next thing you know, they're gonna be like, this is a new animal. I'm surprised they didn't have one of like an ant or something. Although I say that now. And then what's gonna be Forbidden West, or what's gonna be the new Horizon game? They're gonna have ants. And so if you're terrified of ants, I'm surprised. Another one I was surprised they didn't have one of was a spider. So yeah, I'm just giving you ideas. Make like a spider machine, an ant machine, a dolphin machine that is a lot more friendlier. Although I guess to have a friendly dolphin machine because you can't really fight that stuff underwater. Yeah. Anyways, before this video gets awkward, I'm gonna end this episode here. God, I look tired. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you did like this video, make sure to leave a like. And leave a comment down below. Tell me what your favorite part of this game was. I would love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I did this outro out of order. And yeah, if you do subscribe, hit that bell notification to be notified when I upload because I don't have a schedule. Obviously, now that I have a job, my videos are gonna be spaced out pretty broad. I think when I'm recording this video, I think my last video was 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm trying to not abandon this channel like I did the previous 2 times, under different names. So yeah, anyways, Loser Manic out.